끝난 줄 알았지. 안 끝났어. 안 끝났단 말이야. 알았어?
Wish you would've left me here. Now I'm just controlled by fear. What's the point in our reflection if you never look in the mirror? Counting the days until you're gone. Waiting.
Violet woke up to the sound of the alarm clock blaring. Blinking groggily, she glanced at the time and realized she was running late for college. With a sigh, she swung her legs out of the bed but stopped when she saw Jungkook sleeping on the sofa. It was first time she saw him in his own room. Usually he was out God knows where. She moved quietly around the room, trying to make as little noise as possible. The unfamiliarity of the house made her feel like a stranger in her own home. It was strange to think that just a week ago, she was living a completely different life, and now she was here, married to someone who barely acknowledged her presence. She tiptoed to the closet where she selected a simple outfit, a white blouse and a dark jeans. She dressed, she stole glances at Jungkook. He looked peaceful and unworried in his sleep, a completely different demeanor. He had shown her from past week. She didn't want to wake him up from his sleep. She pulled her hair into a ponytail and started her makeup routine quickly. She gathered her bag and books quietly, placing them by the door. She glanced back to the sofa, where he remained oblivious to her presence. She knew it was better not to wake him. The last thing she needed was to deal with his irritation before he hurried out of the day. She turned off the lights and slipped out of the room, closing the door gently behind her. She walked down the stairs, the scent of breakfast filling the air as she neared the kitchen. She forced a smile as she saw Miss Jeon busy at the stove. "Why, dear, come have your breakfast." Miss Jeon called warmly as she turned around with the plate in hand. "I made your favorite." Her smile became a little more genuine. Jeon had been nothing but kind to her since the start, and the house felt unfamiliar. His mother's presence gave her comfort. "Thank you, Mom," Ryan replied, taking a seat at the table. She watched as her placed a piece of toast, eggs and fruit in front of her. "Did you sleep well?" Mrs. Jeon asked, sitting down across from Ryan with her own cup of tea. "Yes, I did. Thank you for asking, Mrs. Jeon. I know it's all very new for you living here, but I want you to feel at home, dear. If there's anything you need, just let me know." "I will, thank you." "Have you seen Jungkook? He is still not up yet." Van froze for a split second before shaking her head. "No, he was still sleeping when I left the room. I didn't want to wake him." "This boy, I don't know what's gotten into him. He was never this irresponsible before, but now." She trailed off, shaking her head in disbelief. Ryan nodded along, trying to be polite. How could she not know the reason? It's obvious. He was forced into this marriage just like I was. He used to be so diligent, always the first one up, but lately, well, I'm sure it will pass. He just needed some time to adjust, I suppose. She forced a small reassuring smile. I'm sure he will. The words felt empty, but Ryan knew there was nothing else she could say. Ryan entered the bustling cafeteria, her tray in hand, and spotted her friend at the corner table. Her friend Jessie was chatted animatedly with her boyfriend, who stood beside her with a lunchbox in hand. "Look at this," Jessie said excitedly as her boyfriend handed her the lunchbox. "He got my favorite, chicken quesadilla, and he even brought dessert." She beamed up at him, who leaned in and planted a kiss on her forehead. Ryan quietly watched the both of them as she settled beside her friend. She and her boyfriend seemed to have the kind of easy affection that felt endearing and foreign to her. They were always so openly affectionate, and she found herself wondering, will Jungkook ever act this way towards me? When Jesse's boyfriend left to join his friends, she turned to Ryan with a smile. "He took me to this cute little cafe last weekend and surprised me with a movie night. He is always so thoughtful." Ryan smiled back, though her thoughts drifted. "Must be nice to have someone who shows you that kind of attention and care," she mused. Her mind wandering back to Jungkook, and she couldn't help but wonder if things would ever be different. Will he ever be that warm and attentive? Just then, as if on cue, Jungkook walked into the cafeteria. Her gaze immediately locked onto him. He moved with a confidence. She watched him walk in, look effortlessly cool as always. When did he wake up? When did he come here? She realized she knew so little about his daily routines. The gap between them seemed so wide. She remembered Mrs. Jeon's words. He would get better. Maybe, just maybe, things would change in time. Jungkook scanned the room, his eyes briefly meeting hers before he headed to the line of food. And then he said he'd take me to the new art exhibit this weekend. Isn't that the sweetest? Are you even listening to me? Huh? Wyan blinked, trying to refocus. She followed Wyan's gaze and noticed Jungkook. Oh, he's finally showed up. Who? Jungkook? She said nonchalantly. What about him? He didn't come to uni for 2 days. Everyone talking about him. They are saying he and his girlfriend have been having a fight because they haven't been talking much. It's all pretty dramatic. Wyan stepped her grip on her tray, tightening. His girlfriend, she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. You didn't know? Jesse's eyes widened in surprise. I thought everyone knew. He has been pretty quiet lately, and there's been all gossip about them not getting along. I didn't realize you didn't know. Wyan shook her head. Oh, well, Wyan, no, I didn't know. I'm not really interested in another relationship. Jessie laughed lightly, shrugging. Well, you know, I'm nosy, and news spread fast around campus. She forced a smile, but it quickly faded. She realized how little she knew about her own husband before marriage. She saw him around campus multiple times, knew of him as the famous rapper, but there's all he was. Someone distant, almost untouchable, a face in the crowd with a reputation that preceded him. And now she is his wife, yet there she is, learning about his life through rumors and whispers. A girlfriend? Of course, she could have a girlfriend. Someone like him wouldn't be single, not for long. He's smart, successful, good-looking. It's so surprised. But then, why did he marry her then? If he had someone else, why go through with this? Was it just a pressure from his parents? Was she just the easier option to keep them happy? But if that's true, then where does that leave her? Does he still love his girlfriend? Of course he does. That's why he being so quiet. Is he rejecting this marriage? Girlfriend? The word wouldn't leave her mind. How can someone like him be tied to her when his heart might still belong to someone else? Wyan pushed the front door open, stepping into the quiet house. The recently familiar scent of home greeted her, and her eyes instinctively scanned the living room. There, sprawled over on the sofa, was Jungkook, his gaze fixed on his phone. Mrs. Jeon appeared from the kitchen, her face lighting up when she saw her. Honey, you are late. We were getting worried. You didn't pick up your phone either. Wyan paused in her tracks. Momentarily taken aback, she quietly composed herself, forcing a casual smile. I'm sorry, Mrs. Jeon, my phone died, and I was in a library working late. Her worry seemed to ease slightly. You were alone? No, Wyan replied, smoothly lying. My friends were there too. We usually stay late in the library, so it's not unusual. Mrs. Jeon's lips curved into a small, understanding smile. Alright dear, but next time, just let us know, okay? We were just a bit concerned. Wyan nodded, offering an apologetic smile in return. I'm with Mrs. Jeon. I'm sorry for making you worry. Her gaze flickered towards Jungkook. He hadn't moved or acknowledged her presence. His focus is still entirely on his phone, seemingly oblivious to the exchange. Mrs. Jeon's eyes followed her gaze, landing on her son. Jungkook, she called her out sternly. You could at least say hello to Wyan when she came home. His eyes shifted ever so slightly, glancing at her for the briefest of a moment before returning to the street. He made no effort to respond. You should wash up dear. Dinner is prepared and it's getting late. Thank you, Mom, she replied softly as she turned to head to her room. Wyan stepped out of the bathroom, the steam from her shower trailing behind her as she changed into comfortable clothes, an oversized sweater and a soft cotton shorts. Her gaze catching Jungkook sitting on the edge of the bed. He wasn't there when she went to the shower, but now there he was. His black jacket was draped over his broad shoulders, half on, half off, as he bent down to tie the laces of his boots. The soft glow of the bathroom light highlighting the tattoos that snaked up his forearm, peeking out from the sleeves of his half-sleeved shirt. It was the first time she had really noticed them, and for a moment she found herself mesmerized. But before she could fully absorb the sight, he spoke. Why did you lie to Mom? Wyan blinked, startled by the suddenness of this question. Excuse me. He didn't look up immediately, finishing the note on his board with calmness before lifting his gaze to meet hers. You know what I'm talking about, he said evenly. You weren't at the library, so why did you tell her you were? Wyan froze. How did she know? Was he watching me? No, he put her shoulder, trying to muster the boldness she needed to respond. I'm not sure what you are implying. I didn't lie. I was in the library and I had to stay late. His expression didn't change. Really? Because the library closed earlier than you claimed. And you weren't answering your phone on purpose because I just saw you. One is fully charged. Her pulse quickened. She knew he was right, but she wasn't about to admit that she lied. I didn't think it was any of your concern. I informed your mother and that's what matters now. What are you hiding that you needed to lie to her? I don't have to explain myself to you, she said flatly. The words slipped out before she could think them through. Who does he really think he is? She thought angrily. He apparently acknowledged her presence most of the time, as she didn't exist. And now suddenly he had questions. Jungkook clicked his tongue. In annoyance, the sound was sharp. His jaw tightened. And for a moment she thought he might push the issue further. But instead he just stared at her, his gaze piercing as he was trying to see through her. After a beat, he reached for his wallet on the dresser, slipping it into his back pocket casually. He turned his head slightly, his dark eyes met hers. Don't lie about your whereabouts, he began, his tone even but with an underlying edge that made her nervous pickle. Unless you are doing some drug dealing on the side, in that case, just let me know. Wouldn't want to get in the way of your side hustle. Her mouth dropped open, her eyes widening in shock at the absurdity of his accusation. Drug dealing? Did he seriously just say that? The audacity of his words left her momentarily speechless. Esme tugging at the corner of his lips as he observed her stunned reaction. What? You are acting all secretive, lying about where you are, who you are with. Sounds shitty to me. He shrugged as the world situation was nothing more than a joke to him. But as long as you are not getting caught, I guess it's fine, right? She snapped out of her shock. She looked at him in disbelief. Excuse me, are you serious right now? Just giving you a heads up. I don't care what you do, but if you are gonna lie, at least make it believable. That was believable, your mother believed. A faint smile played on his lip as he leaned back slightly, crossing his arm. Well, at least you are admitting you lied. Her mouth fell open, leaving her momentarily speechless. She felt dumb for some reasons, caught off guard by how easily he had twisted the conversation. Just as he was about to walk out of the room, she called up to him. Where are you going? Jungkook burst, glancing over his shoulder with raised eyebrows. When you don't tell me where you were, I won't tell you where I am going, he retorted like a child determined to get a last word. His voice carried a stubborn edge as if he was eager to proving something. Mine scoffed. I wasn't asking because I care where you go. Your mom prepared dinner and it's short if you leave now. And of course you don't care, she said. Almost mockingly, she was angry and she doesn't know why. You have someone special to go to on you. Her jab hit its mark. His brows frowned as he finally turned to face her fully. Are you implying something here? For a brief moment, she considered engaging, letting him know exactly what she meant. She didn't want to engage further, feeling the conversation was going nowhere productive. Nothing, just forget it. Without waiting for any other reply, she hurriedly left alone. Mine scribbled down the last few words. Finally finishing her assignment, she quickly gathered her things, stuffing her papers into her bag. Glancing at the clock, she realized she had to hurry if she wanted to make it to her next class on time. She slept early the night, exhausted, and now she was scrambling to finish her assignment. Her teaching granted her a bit of extra time. She walked down to the hallway. As she turned a corner, her pace slowed. Her attention caught by preliminary favorite attending just ahead. Jungkook. He was leaning casually against the wall, his expression relaxed as he nodded at something to the girl in front of him, as saying she didn't know why, but she found herself staying unable to look away. He caught a glimpse of the girl's face, a pretty smile. I right. She must be his girlfriend, she thought, a strange tightness settling in her chest. It made sense, didn't it? So they patched things up. Why does it even matter to me? She shook the odd feeling and forced herself to continue walking. Later, as she was leaving the university and bidding goodbye to Jesse, she heard a voice call out, "Why?" And she turned around, her heart skipping a bit as she saw Jungkook on his bike. He looked effortlessly cool, the kind of presence that commanded attention. She then realized why so many girls seemed to throw themselves at him. He was the definition of effortlessly attractive, and seeing him like that made it all too clear. Yes, she asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the sudden flutter in her chest. He gestured to the empty spot behind her on the bike. "Oh, what? I will drop you home." Ryan eyed him suspiciously, then glanced at the sleek black bike. He was struggling. "No thanks." Jungkook raised an eyebrow, Smith again, and the bundle of his lips. "It's fine." You won't die if you ride with me. Bayan rolled her eyes, annoying by his teasing. Bayan, that's where I'm going to read. Jungkook replied, his tone light as if they were discussing something entirely mundane. I will drop you there then. He showed him a sharp look, realizing that he wasn't going to let this go easily. Is this your new way of finding out where I go? He didn't think about it for a moment, his mind growing more careful. Yeah, you could say that. Bayan huffed in frustration. Well, it's you not going to work. I'm not telling you anything. And then Bayan started walking, completely ignoring him. She turned on her heel, deciding to end the conversation by walking away, completely ignoring him. But then as soon as she took a few steps, he started the bike and she heard it rolling slowly behind her. Glancing over her shoulder, she saw him following her. His mix still firmly in place. He was clearly enjoying this and it only fueled her irritation. Seriously, Bayan muttered under her breath, picking up her pace. Come on, man, he called out, his tone light and teasing. Don't be like that. I'm just trying to be good and make sure you get your business safely. Bayan rolled her eyes at presenting age. Where are you going anyway? Jacob continued, his voice carrying over the noise of the bike. You know, if you keep ignoring me, I might just start following you every day. So are you a stalker now? What's gotten into him? Why was he suddenly so interested in every move? Wasn't the one who had been cold, barely acknowledging her existence?